Go. I'm Kylie.
And I'm Jerry.
And you're watching History Uncovered.
What's up, guys? It's Jerry Marvin.
It's Kylie.
And today we're talking about the
Freedom Riders.
That's what I'm talking about.
Well, before we can get into that, we got to do a little bit of a history rewind.
Let's get started. This was the peak of segregated facilities. There were segregated restaurants, parks, water fountains,
hospitals, libraries, theaters, anything public, you had to be segregated.
Yes. Segregated. During this time, African Americans also had to attend separate schools from the whites, who were usually underfunded schools, which is kind of an understatement, but we're just going to say underfunded. And
although they were underfunded, when they left, they also had to endure racial violence outside of the schools, including lynchings, or any other way they could find to publicly humiliate anyone of their race.
Yes, and just to provide some more context of this time period, I'm going to list a few important civil rights movements during this time.
Besides the Freedom Riders.
Yes, because that's very important, guys. The Montgomery bus boycott, the lynching of Emmett Till, the sit-in movement, and finally, the Little Rock Central High School interrogation. Now
let's get into the why.
The court case that sparked this movement was the Supreme Court's ruling in Boynton v. Virginia, 1960, which banned segregation in bus terminals.
A young black man who attended Harvard was traveling on a train from Washington, D.C. to Salem, Alabama.
While traveling, they stopped in Richmond, Virginia for 45 minutes.
While waiting for the train, Boynton left the train and went to eat in a section reserved for white people.
And when he was told to leave and go to the section reserved for blacks, he refused and was arrested and taken to court.
This example of civil disobedience went to the Supreme Court with a 7-2 vote. The Supreme Court ruled that segregation interferes with interstate commerce.
So, to test the ruling, the Congress of Racial Equality, also known as CORE, planned to resurrect freedom rides.
Which leads us to our next section, the planning/approach behind the freedom rides.
Freedom rides meant riding interracial with no reserved sections on an interstate highway from city to city or state to state.
This was non-violent.
CORE decided to gather several hundred activists to come up with a plan to help spread awareness.
The plan was, on May 4th, white and black males and females were all to ride a Greyhound and Trailways buses through the Deep South.
The plan was to ride through Virginia, the Carolinas, and Georgia.
Now let's get into the actual rides.
The days of the departure, federal troops escorted the buses during departure to prevent any racial radical ideas from becoming true,
On these days, people sang spirituals and freedom songs.
And in return, they were faced with hostility.
During the freedom rides, most of the buses experienced brutal racism, name-calling, abuse, and arrest.
But on 2 bus rides in particular, they had the worst fate of them all.
On May 14th, 2 Greyhound buses transporting freedom riders.
These buses were coming from Atlanta, Georgia, and planned to travel to New Orleans, which that was their plan at least.
The first bus was set off to New Orleans, which was attacked in a break in Birmingham, Alabama, where they tried to use the terminal.
But the second one, they suffered a more severe fate. While driving, they were forced off the road by an angry white mob who stoned them and firebombed them.
The passengers had to crawl off the bus while burning, and while getting off, they felt the force of hard rocks being thrown at them by grown men.
But in the end, there were multiple buses and trains used, and multiple black and white lives lost.
But their pain and agony didn't go unnoticed.
Shortly after this, the Interstate Commerce Commission, also known as ICC, ended up banning segregation in interstate travel, effectively ending racial discrimination in public transportation.
The Freedom Rides served as a catalyst for further civil rights activism inspiring new creative ways of protesting and demonstrations. In the end, we just want to thank the people who risked their lives and paid with their lives just for us to be able to sit here today and make this podcast for you guys possible.
Yes. And remember, guys, Black history is our history, and we will continue to use our voices to make sure it is heard and remembered. Bye, guys. Damn, cut! Why is it Amazon word? 3, 2, ching. Ching.
And then we were gonna say.
Okay.
Ching. Now let Rosa Parks and he's George Washington.
Okay, guys.
Okay, restart.
Okay, you're gonna start on the second line.
Okay, ready?
Ching. Ching. Okay, which. Ching. Okay, which leads it. Kylie! 3, 2, 1. Ching. Ching. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Ching.
Ching. Now let's get into the actual rights.
Yes.
Start it like that.
Okay, guys. Sorry, just getting emotional about this. They are ending credits. Hold on. Yeah, you go first. I want Kylie, cut it out. The Big Back Jerry and
Snack attack, Kylie. Okay.
that is a wrap. Ching!